Okay, so let's see how can we view the reservations. Now notice that view reservations is not gonna be inside reservation for one reason, because view reservation actually depends on the actual username, right? And you can access the username clearly from that account object, which is inside the account object, right? So you can access the reservation via a username. Like, you need to know the username of the guy that you are providing the reservation for, because remember, here in the reservation, the JSON, you would have multiple reservation made by multiple people, right? So this guy is Ali and this guy is Ahmed, right? And you can find Ahmed making another reservation beneath right there, right? So you depend on the username in this case, and the username can be found easily inside the account object, right? Okay, but if you have the view reservation inside reservation, you would need that username. So how would you get it, right? So I think this is more straightforward, right? So let's do that view reservation. Okay, so I'm gonna go for the controller and view reservation. Now let's say that I'm going to check, since this controller has access to the account object, then I'm going to check that account object, and I'm going to check has reservation. Remember that has reservation that we made earlier? Check has reservation, right? If not check has reservation, meaning that this guy doesn't have any reservations, so we will just print something like no reservations. You don't have any reservations, right? Else, what if it's true? If this is true, then I'd need to know the number of reservations that this person has made, right? So if it's true, and if this guy has reservation, then we would want to, via the username, get all of the reservations. So how about we make a method inside the reservation, and let's call it something like define get reservation by username, right? So it takes the username, right, and it searches the reservations that we have stored from reservation the JSON, right? Okay, so we are going to call self.count object dot reservation object and call get reservation by username and send the current username, which is inside this guy. So send the username which is logged in currently. All right, now once we have that username sent into get reservation by username, let's take all of the reservations inside this object first. So I'm just gonna say from that class variable get me all of the reservations. So I'm just gonna store this in a local variable called reservations. Okay, and let's say for reservation in reservations, remember that reservations is just a list of dictionaries. So reservation is a list of dictionaries as you're seeing here. Okay, so for reservations, every dictionary that I have from reservation to JSON for every dictionary, how about you do the following? How about you say get, right, get the username, get that key, If it is equal to that past username, right, then let's append it into reservation made. This is going to be the list that contains the reservation made by this username. So let's append it into reservation made. Let's append the whole dictionary, right? Okay, let's append the whole dictionary. And once we finish, how about we just return reservation made? That's it. And note that reservation made is going to be a list of dictionaries as well, but dictionaries or reservations that are relevant to the past username. Okay, so let's go back to the controller and let's say that this is going to return a list of reservations. So reservation dicts, right? So for every dictionary in these reservation dicts, I want to print the following. Let's print the following. Let's print this just liner right there, and let's say something like I think one tab is enough. Something like reservation ID, and this is gonna have the res ID, right? And we have a couple of stuff. We have username, so this is UN, and we have, what do we have? Movie name, seats, movie name, and seats, and finally we have the time, all right, and we have whole number, okay. So these are the details, and I think that's it. Let's go to the UI and say if the user wanted to, we didn't add this actually, we just added in this part. Okay, so let's add one here. So if the user wanted to view reservations, we are going to access the controller to access view reservations. All right, now let's test this, and let's say view reservations. You don't have any reservations. Now that's not correct. That's not true, because obviously I have a reservation. So what's going on here? I think I understand what's going on here. So what happens is that whenever we log in, let's go to the login. Let's see how the login works. Whenever you log in, right, you set the account. So you set the username and password and email. So let's go to set account. You're gonna see that whenever you log in and you set the account, right, we forget actually to set the has result or has reserved. Okay, which in this case, let's say that whenever we log in, we also need the email. We also need the has reserved, right? So I'm gonna look for has reserved. So this is gonna be has reserved, and now we are going to modify set account and make it take an additional argument. So let's send here has reserved. Okay, and set account now takes has reserved, and this is what we are going to set, has reserved, like that. Now let's try and run this one more time. And view reservations. Here it recognizes that we have made one reservation, right? Let's make another one. Let's make reservation for Coco at 8 p.m. and take seats 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's view the reservations. So this is the reservation ID, and these are the seats and the time, the whole number, and so on. Okay, so that's everything so far. Let's just modify the reset or the logout process. Okay, so let's, in the logout, let's just say that has reserved is gonna be false. All right, and whenever we log out from the controller, we are going to trigger the reservation object and reset. What did we call it? Reset res info, like so, right? Okay, so we call it reset res info. Then we will call self.movie object dot reset movie information. What did we call it exactly? Information. Okay, and let's add a quick debugging note inside the boundary. So let's add a method that's called debug. All it does is that it prints a couple of information on the past objects. So this is reservation. Let's call this is debugging reservation info to check after the login and before the login, right? And let's print self dot login controller. Let's check the reservation info first. Set the reservation ID. Let's check the for example, the username, movie name, example. Let's make some debugging for the movie information as well. So let's copy this from there here. So let's just access the movie object and get the movie ID and the movie name, and that's enough. Okay, and let's call debug by the end of the loop, like that. Dot debug. Okay, and there is a dead right there. That's it. Let's make a final test. There is a problem that we've made at debug. Okay, there is no object that's called username. All right, yeah, I remember now. There is no username. So how about we just check the reservation ID and the seats. We don't even have name. We just have res ID and seats. All right, so let's just say turn off. And how about we check the holes from this guy, hole number, and this is gonna be also having the same number supposedly. Okay. Okay, so for the time being, we don't have any information about the reservation or the movie. Now let's log in and let's make a reservation. Let's choose a movie. This is the movie, Murder on the Orient Express. This is the timing. This is the seat. So the first one is the reservation ID, which seems to be correct since so far we've made just 4 reservations so far. 4 reservations, that's correct. And we have also the seats, that's the number of seats, or the seat number, that's the whole number, that's the movie ID, that's the movie name, that's the whole number. So let's try to log out. Everything has been set to none, so everything works.